In today's video, I'm beginning a lift kit installation on my 2010 Toyota FJ Cruiser. This tutorial will also be very applicable for the Toyota Tacoma and Toyota 4Runner models. Now in tonight's video, I'm doing just the front lift kit installation, and over the course of the next few days, I'll be posting tutorials on how to do the differential drop, sway bar relocation kit, and rear shocks and coils. Once those videos are live, I'll put links in the description below. Now for today's lift kit, I'm installing a set of Bilstein shocks and springs. We've got the Bilstein 6112 shocks and coils, Bilstein 5100 rear shocks, the B12 rear coils. We've got an Icon sway bar relocation kit, and we've also got a differential drop kit. I bought this lift kit off of BilsteinLifts.com, a great resource that I highly recommend that you check out. I've used them for several other lift kits in the past. Great company. Again, highly recommend that you check them out. I'll put a link in the description below to this lift kit. Likewise, I'll put links to the sway bar relocation kit and the differential drop kit. Now our first step is to jack up the vehicle and pull the wheels off both the front driver and passenger side. We've got to do both sides so that we can disconnect the sway bar. To lift up the vehicle, a floor jack is going to come in really handy here, and you also need a set of jack stands as a secondary precaution in case the floor jack were to fail. You'll also see that I put the wheels underneath the chassis so that if worse came to worse, those would also be there to catch the vehicle. So once we've got the vehicle lifted up, we're ready to begin the lift kit installation. After the vehicle's lifted, we've got to remove the skid plate from right under the front of the vehicle here. There are 4 of these 12mm bolts that need to be removed. Got one here, one here, one here, and one here. And we've got these 2 little clips that are hanging on the front. So basically you'll remove these 4 bolts, and then it's kind of hanging from these clips. You'll want to put a hand at the back here to kind of hold that up as you're removing the last bolt so this doesn't swing down and hit you. Then gently swing it down and lift it off of these clips. We're going to start by disconnecting the sway bar. In order to do that, we need a 17mm socket wrench that's going to go right here. And we've also got to secure this side so that it doesn't twist. We're going to do this on the driver and front passenger side. Next, we're going to just gently tap this out with a hammer, and then we're going to do the same thing on the passenger side. Next up, we're going to need 2 19mm socket wrenches. It's got the bolt down here, so we're going to have 1 wrench on this side, and then 1 on the nut on this side. And then with both wrenches here, the one on my right hand is just kind of be in position there to hold the head, and then I'm going to use the breaker bar here to loosen this nut. So we're going to lift up on the driver's side. A few spins here until it's a little bit loose. It should be hand loose now, so I'll just pull this off. We've got a nut and a washer. Make sure you keep these together for the reinstall. And now we're going to take a hammer and just kind of gently tap this through this hole. You may need some sort of a bar that you can insert on this end to push it all the way through the bottom of the shock as well. Kind of lift up on the shock so that bolt will slide out on the other side. Next up, we've got 3 14mm nuts that need to be removed, 2 up here in the front and 1 in the back on the top of this shock assembly. Make sure that you don't remove this nut that's on the top. That's holding this whole assembly together, so that would definitely be a mistake. You're going to just need a standard wrench to remove these because of the height on the top of this nut. If it's ratcheting, that's going to make things a lot easier. These are also really tight, and so I actually use the breaker bar to loosen them, and then I'll use this to loosen them the rest of the way. Next up, I've got another jack under the lower control arm to help support that weight once that's swinging free. And we've got to remove 2 19mm bolts, 1 here in the rear and a matching one in the front right here. Next we're going to loosen this 22mm nut and this one. We want to do as little loosening as possible, just enough to get the lower control arm to swing down so that we can get the shock out. Now if you are doing the sway bar relocation kit, I'd recommend that you do it now just to help get you that additional clearance to pull this out. But if you're not doing the sway bar relocation kit, then that won't apply, and so that's why I'm leaving it in for this step of the process. We're just going to kind of push down on this lower control arm. You can see we've got the bottle jack out of the way now to give us some more clearance. And we're just going to kind of pull up on the sway bar here to try to get us some space to get this down through the bottom. It's definitely a tight fit, but it is doable. And you can also see we can kind of push this whole assembly back here, which might help get us some additional clearance during the process as well. So we're free up top, and we're stuck on the sway bar. Just gonna pull that up to get out of the way. This step definitely is the most complicated step. Again, if you're removing that sway bar relocation kit, this is a lot easier. And I will do that before I go to the passenger side. Push this out of the way again. See if we can get this free. There we go. There we go, got it now. And coil is out. Now we're ready to go ahead and put the 6112 together and reinsert it. Now for the 6112s, we're going to have to reuse this upper mount, which means we're going to have to remove this bolt here and disassemble the shock assembly. So go ahead and take our spring compressor here. You can get a spring compressor as a free rental from most auto parts store, or you can buy one pretty cheaply online. I'll put a link to it in the description below in case you want to just go ahead and purchase one. I want to say that it was less than $60. It will come in handy if you're planning on doing this more than once. Pull these guys out, in there. Now we're going to do the same thing on the opposite side. I'm going to go ahead and use the impact wrench here to just tighten it slightly. I have received comments in the past that using the impact wrench isn't necessarily safe, so you could do it by hand. To me, it seems a lot easier and doesn't really seem particularly unsafe as long as you're not going too crazy on one side more than the other. You don't want to compress this down super tight when that side's loose. You want to be, you know, kind of going back and forth and not too much at any given time. So I'm just going to tighten this side slightly and then that side, and then we're going to go ahead and leave it at that. Okay, so that should be good now. And then we'll go ahead and remove this nut that's up top. So next we've got this 17mm nut that needs to be removed on top. So we've got the wrench for that, and then channel locks to keep the whole assembly from twisting. So we're just going to hold on with the channel locks and then twist this nut off. Be nice to have a ratcheting wrench here, but unfortunately I do not. So we're just going to have to do this quite a few times until we get it removed. So we got that off now. Pull these off. And this upper mount. And we'll go ahead and clean it off before we reinstall as well, as you can see that it's quite dirty. For this next step, we're going to assemble the 6112 shocks. Got our shock here, spring, and then all these components that came with the setup. It does come with this little manual here for putting it all together, and you'll notice that there's a little table here that shows you the lift height that you're going to get depending on the clips. You'll see that it's got a driver's side and passenger side that are different. So depending on how you're planning on lifting it, you want to put the driver's side taller than the passenger side because of the way that the vehicle sits. So for the FJ Cruiser, I'm going to max height, which is 2.2 inches. In order to do that, on the driver's side, we're going to go with the number 6 clip. And then on the passenger side, we're going to go with the number 4 clip. Likewise, you'll see if you want to go 1.8 inches, we'll go on the number 5 and the number 3. If you want to go 1.5 inches, we'll go number 4 and number 2. And if you want to go 1.2, you'll go number 3 and number 1. And then you'll see that on the 4Runner, that's non-KDSS, you get slightly taller ride height. And then with KDSS, you also get a taller ride height, and you put those level with the KDSS system. Go to the back page of the manual. It's got the whole diagram here for how to put the shock assembly together. We're going to start off by adjusting this clip again to the tallest height. So we're going to go from the bottom here all the way up to the number 6 setting for the driver's side. In order to do that, we're going to use some pliers here. Basically just going to kind of pry these apart and gently go up one clip at a time until we get to the top. Now we've got it on the number 6 setting. Now putting together the 6112s proved to be a little bit more challenging than what I had expected. We've got the shock here, this little plate that goes on first. You'll see that it's flat on top and then angled at the bottom. So we're going to put it on so that that angled portion is at the bottom. And then our spring goes on top of that. And we've got some text on the spring, so we want that to read right side up. So you'll see it says Bilstein right there. So place this on here, and then with this on here, the challenge that you'll see is that because the shock has such a large diameter compared to the coil, the strut compressor doesn't fit. So if we tried to get this to fit in here with the shock, you can see that we don't have enough clearance. So this compressor will not work for the 6112s. I actually went to auto parts store to get a different product and see if that would work. So I got this compressor here. Unfortunately, it didn't work either. So the third option, and this isn't really desirable, is what we're going to do though. There's another method where you can install the shock without a compressor in the engine or the wheel compartment here. So I'm going to go ahead and do it this way. Again, disclaimer, this is probably not the recommended way of doing it. You could pay a shop to do it for you, or probably the best option would be to get a different set of spring compressors that have a little bit better clearance to reach in on a tight setup like this. But I watched a few videos of this other method and it looks pretty promising. So with that, we're gonna go ahead and install it without a compressor. All right, so first we're gonna take the original top mount here and we're gonna slide it up in position on the top. And then we've got the 3 original nuts here that we're just gonna start by getting hand tight. Then we'll get them nice and snug with our wrench. Now before we slide this all in, we've also got this rod adapter that goes on first. You'll see this end goes down, so we're going to insert that on there. And then we've got this lower washer. We want to face it with this side up, that side down. That's going to rest on top. So just slide that down there. And then we're going to go ahead and take this whole setup and slide it up into position. Again, this step's always a little tricky to get it to slide in. Up the coil here. It's in position. Just lower part in position. Now we're ready to start tightening things up. All right, so next we're going to go ahead and reinstall 19mm bolt, nut, and washer. Remember, the bolt goes in on the back side here, pushes through this way, and then we'll put the nut on this side along with that washer. Just push down on that lower control arm to get that hole to line up. And then got the washer that goes on first, and then the nut. Put a 19mm wrench on the back side here, again to hold that head. And we've got another 19mm socket here. It's going to go on this end, and we're going to tighten it on this side. You'll see that I'm using the floor jack for this step. We've relocated the bottle jack back to where the floor jack was. The vehicle's sitting on the jack stand. So again, we've got the dual set up here, and I needed the floor jack to be able to get clearance to get underneath the lower control arm. So what we're going to do here is we're going to go ahead and lift up the jack to compress the spring. And as we compress it, the rod will pass through the center up here, and then we can put together the rest of the shock. Okay, we can see that upper rod starting to pass through, so that's a good sign. So I just lifted the other side of the vehicle to kind of push down on this side. More than I was lifting the floor jack over here, was just lifting up the vehicle at a certain point and not really gaining us a whole lot. So now that we've lifted on that side, we've got pretty good clearance here. We're gonna start by putting this rubber bushing on. Slide that. We've got this washer. And we've got an 18mm nut. Now the nut just barely gets onto those threads, but what I found was I could just kind of put some weight on the vehicle to kind of pull down on it. It gets me just enough that I can hand tighten this. So hand tighten it, and then we'll get it with a wrench. So we're going to tighten this just a little bit at first, and then we're going to need to get those channel locks up top to hold it so that the rod doesn't spin. All right, so next up we need to get the 19mm bolts that go in the front and rear here installed. So we'll get this one partially tight and we'll do the other side before we torque them up. All right, so we're all in and ready for the last couple steps. Got to tighten this 22mm nut and this 22mm bolt. Just going to tighten these slightly. We don't want to overdo it, and then I will take the vehicle in for an alignment afterward. I'll adjust these as needed. Same story on this side. We're just going to tighten this slightly. Now I mentioned at the beginning of the video that I was planning on doing a sway bar relocation kit, but if you look here, the sway bar is actually in pretty good shape relative to the coilover, and so I'm actually going to skip installing that relocation kit, and that means that once we've done the passenger side, the last step here is to reconnect the sway bar. So to reconnect the sway bar, we're just going to pull this little link arm here and pass it through, and then we've got the 17mm nut. We'll hand tighten it, and then we'll tighten up to spec with a wrench. And just as you saw at the beginning, we're going to have to go ahead and hold on to this other end to prevent it from spinning as we're tightening it up. So with that, the installation is complete. It did require a little bit of creativity to get the job done, but we did get it complete and I'm still alive, so that's all good. Later this week, I'll be putting out additional tutorials on how to install the differential drop kit, the rear coils, and rear shocks. Subscribe to stay up to date on those videos. If you have any comments or questions on the installation, feel free to leave them in the section below. In the meantime, thanks for watching.